Today I'm going to show how to draw an interior or a room in 1-point perspective. Make sure you have your ruler because your lines are really important for this. Start by lining the ruler up with opposite edges of the paper and drawing an X across your page. The intersection of your X, you can make a point over it. That is going to become your vanishing point. Next, you're going to draw a rectangle where the corners of the rectangle touch that X. You don't want the corners hanging out off to the sides or above it, directly on that X. How big you make that rectangle does make a big difference because that is going to be the back wall of your room. If you make it really, really small, it's going to look like a really long hallway, something kind of creepy maybe out of a horror movie, or it just has a whole lot of space in it. If you make the rectangle really big, like this one here, then when you walk in, this is only going to be about a foot of space to stand in. So you kind of want to make that rectangle somewhere in between. And this is going to make more sense as I progress with the drawing. So when I make the X, I'm going to really take my time. I mean that rectangle. So I'm lining my ruler up with the X, making sure it's vertical, nice and straight, up and down, even with the sides of the paper. I start with my first vertical line here, and then I turn my paper, lining it up with that corner, making sure my ruler is nice and straight. Drawing it again, moving it over, relining it up, until finally I have all four sides of that rectangle. So sometimes this doesn't work out well the first time, and I do have to do it a time or two, so just be patient and you'll eventually get it. On the inside of the rectangle, I can start to erase my X, and this becomes the back wall of my room. Now notice this back wall is a regular rectangle, so anything I draw within here is just going to be regular. If I am making a window, I can just go ahead and draw that window. Horizontal, vertical lines. I don't have to worry about anything. So this is our back wall here. These become our two side walls. This is our roof. This is our floor. And I'll label that just so you can see that. Walls. And that is a side wall and the back wall. If I am going to draw a door on either of the side walls, I need to make sure that door lines up to the vanishing point. So if I'm putting one over here, I'll start with my vertical line for the side of it. The top will line up with the top to my vanishing point. And if I know the door is only going to be this wide, I can stop that line right there, reline my ruler up, move it over, and make sure I have a vertical line for the other side of that door. If I were to draw it over here, same thing. Vertical line, top to the vanishing point, vertical line for the other side. If I were to draw a window on either of the sides, and I'll show it on this one, I would start with the vertical line for the side of the window. The top and bottom would both go to my vanishing point. And again, if I know my window is going to be this wide, I can stop my line right there so it's less to erase in the long run. So now the top goes to the vanishing point. I draw that line there, and then I make a vertical line for the other side. If you have any extra guidelines, erase them as you go. Otherwise, you will have a lot of lines on your paper in the long run. If I wanted to draw a dresser, a bed, a table, anything like that, I could. I want to make sure it looks like it's actually sitting on the floor, not floating in space. So if I were to draw something, maybe some type of dresser or cabinet, I could start over here, line my ruler up. I still want to think about my perspective techniques like this city. In this city, we always wanted to start with drawing the regular rectangle first. So I'm starting with the shape that is going to be the side of that dresser or that cabinet. I can erase my guidelines. I can erase the corner of the room. So this way I just have that regular rectangle. Notice this line right here. This is the line that separates the floor from the wall. So this is everything here is my floor. Everything over here is my wall. Notice I made sure that this cabinet was sitting so the bottom of it is on the floor. I don't want to make it over here because then it would look like it was floating and that doesn't really make sense. Now, same steps that we've been doing. Now that I have the regular rectangle, I'm going to start by lining my corners up to my vanishing point. And again, if you know the shape is going to end, you can start practicing drawing them less so you don't have to erase so much in the end. Think about our rules from before. I line this up with the front edge, I slide it over, I make a vertical line, I line it back up, I slide it over, draw my line. So this corner and the back corner both look the same. Now I'm going to go in and erase my extra lines. If I want to draw my drawers or anything else, I can add those details as well. Even each of the drawers, the separation between them would go to the vanishing point. So one line going across, another one right about here. I can make a little circle to be the knob or however you want. Now it looks like this cabinet or drawers sitting on the floor. So you want to draw a bed, something a little bit more complicated. Think about the shape of the side of the bed. So the side of the bed, the mattress, is going to be a rectangle. We're going to make that into our regular rectangle. So right about there. And I made those lines too long, so I'm going to erase them. I also extended this line towards the top so I can draw a headboard, and I brought it down here so it looks like the leg. And then I can also add that line for the leg on this side as well. Now I want to line the corners up to my vanishing point. So the corner of the mattress right here to the vanishing point. And I'm only going to draw it as far as I need to. Line this corner up to the vanishing point and this bottom one as well. I can also line the top of my headboard up to the vanishing point. So this way everything is getting drawn in the correct perspective. I'm going to line this up right here. Slide it over, make sure those lines are even, make my line, line it up with the front of the mattress, slide it over, keep drawing that line. Line it up right here, slide it over, make the line, and I can continue it for the leg as well. And then I can erase those extra guidelines. If you want to draw maybe a checkerboard floor or something like that, even the lines for the floor can go to your vanishing point as well. So lining the ruler up with the vanishing point we put it on an angle and start drawing the line so it goes across. And think about that ruler being connected to the vanishing point like a clock. No matter how I turn it to draw those lines, it's still going to be connected to your vanishing point. So when I get over here where the bed is, I'm going to stop, move the ruler over my line, so this way I don't have to cross it and erase. Still sliding it over, and every time I slide it, I am double checking that it does line up to the vanishing point. And eventually I have all of my lines. If I'm making it a checkerboard, then I want to add in a horizontal line so it starts to look like those squares. Horizontal line. I slide my ruler over, and I'm going to be careful of where the bed is and the dresser every time I move it over. So now it looks like my floor has a checkerboard on it. Even if I want to keep continuing, adding more details, I can. Say I want to add a light on my roof, drawing something like that. I generally start with like maybe a half circle, draw a line coming down, little oval like this. If you're trying to make it look like some type of chandelier or something like that, you could draw something else coming off of it, trying to make it look more fancy, depending on what you would like. If you're drawing maybe a trash can, something like that, draw your oval for the top. The lines come down, our little curve at the bottom, and then you can erase anything that you need. Make sure it looks like it's sitting on the ground, not floating in space. Say I want to put a picture, something over my bed. I can start with the vertical line for the top, line the bottom up to my vanishing point, line the top up to my vanishing point as well. And then I have a vertical line for the other side of that picture. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can add rugs on the floor. If it's an oval or something like that, you can just draw the shape of it. If you're making it so it is a square or rectangle, something like that, we do want to line it up to the vanishing point. You would want to draw the one line for the front edge, line the side up to the vanishing point. Oops. Make sure your pencil is working. Line the other side up to your vanishing point, and then your horizontal line to end it. Erase the floor if you are drawing anything on top of it. This way it doesn't confuse people as they're looking at your drawing. So you don't necessarily have to draw a bedroom for these rules to apply. It could work drawing a kitchen, a bathroom, a locker room, anything that you would like. How detailed and creative is totally up to you. You can even start putting things on top of your cabinets. Say you want to have a little cup, maybe it holds makeup brushes, maybe there's a necklace laying down on your cabinet. Totally up to you. All right, so that's your basic way of setting up your interior, drawing the X, the rectangle, using your vanishing point, and everything else.